Greetings! Well, I know what I'm going to talk about, but I have no idea what the title is going to be because I'm not necessarily sure where I'm going to go overall, but let's just dive into this. So back in January of 2024, my desktop computer broke. And I did a video about that, and it was one of those kind of things where I had done a lot of changes to that computer, and I had a whole bunch of RAM in it and some other things, and then I messed up and I overheated it accidentally, and then a couple weeks later it just said, "I'm tired of you," and it quit. So I didn't know what I could do. I still have a laptop. It's a Toshiba. If anyone ever remembers Toshiba laptops, it was a big 17 and a half inches. It was huge, but it was old. But that's all I had. So I was talking with a friend of mine at the time, one of my best friends, and he says, "Hey, we've got some computers that are basically just laying around in, where I work." And he worked at a Pepsi company, and they had bought all these computers to do all this stuff with. And then at a certain time, they decided that we're going to get everybody laptops instead so that they can work from home every once in a while and work on the weekends if they want to. Yeah, right, if they want to. So I said, "Hey, you know what? If you have anything, I'd love it because I just don't have it right now." I didn't have the money to buy a new computer. I hadn't really dealt with anything like that. So it took, I think, a couple of weeks. I'll say weeks. Actually, I don't really remember. No, he initially brought me a computer, and then that one didn't work. It was just something weird about it, so he brought me another one. So that one worked out fine. I was able to move some stuff into that new computer, and I'm thinking, okay, this will do. The thing about it is that it didn't have everything that I had in my computer. Because it was a work computer, they didn't put a lot of storage in it. They didn't put a lot of protections in it. They didn't put things in it so that, you could run it like you ran a home computer. So I had tried to add certain things, and certain things didn't work here and there. I didn't think about it as much because I just needed to get back online. I had stuff to do. And, I was going along okay. I had some issues here and there, but I didn't get mad at it because I just said, well, at least I've got a computer. Then we get to this year. And I hadn't been paying much attention to the fact that there was going to be a Windows 11. I was doing really good, had Windows 10 Pro. I had basically shut down stuff I didn't want it to do. I knew a lot about how to get in there and shut it all down, that stuff I didn't want to deal with. So I thought that I could do the same thing with the computer I have, which is a Lenovo, by the way. That's the one that my friend brought me. And it turned out that no, it didn't work the same because I didn't realize, I hadn't really thought that it didn't have all of the RAM that I needed in order to do certain things. And I have a bunch of storage. I have 2 terabyte drives because, well, after things blew up back in 2024, I decided I need to make sure that I could always have copies and backups of all my files. Okay, it's a little overkill, but it's not a bad idea. Maybe 3 wasn't the smartest thing at the time, but you know what? I still have 3. I'm a happy guy. So anyhow, now we have Windows 11 coming, and I'm thinking, nah, you know what? I don't have to deal with that. I've done everything well with Windows 10, and I'm good. What I hadn't thought about, though, is that certain things were going to happen regarding my computer, regarding some of the websites I go to, and Windows 11 came out in October. And suddenly there was this other thing that we all know about now, but I didn't really think about it back in the day. AI, artificial intelligence. It didn't occur to me that a lot of search engines were going to switch to that. And because of the computer I have, it didn't work well with those sites. For instance, I have a Facebook account. All of a sudden, I was having trouble pulling that up. I have YouTube. Now, yes, I have my own channels, but I also like to watch a lot of YouTube videos. And then I started having trouble loading those. And I'm like, why is all this stuff happening to me? Well, because it needed more power, which I didn't have to have before. And now everything is just not working well. So another friend of mine, his name is Mitchell. So see, he gets to be Mitchell, I get to be Mitch. I love it that way. He says to me, you know, you might need to think about getting another computer, or see if maybe the computer you have can add RAM to it and some of the other stuff. No, it can't do it because the company, Pepsi, didn't want all that stuff in there. They didn't want anybody doing, you know, things like that. So I was now stuck. What am I going to do? I can't load pages that I have. I couldn't even pull up my blogs. I have 3 blogs that I really haven't written in probably a year and a half. I need to get back to that. So I didn't really know what to do. And so I'm talking to Mitchell about it. He says, you know, maybe you should think about getting a new computer or a laptop. You should go to Newegg. Now, I had heard about Newegg, but I'd never been to that site. In all these years, I never even thought about it. So I go there, and there's thousands of computers and laptops. I said, oh, God, this is just way too much. So I called my friend Scott. Hey, you know, I need to look at a new laptop or computer. My friend Mitchell says that I should get a laptop. He says I'd have a lot more space. But I've always kind of leaned towards having a desktop. And Scott and Mitchell both have laptops. Like I said, I mentioned that giant laptop that I still have. And after some thinking about it, I said, you know what? It wouldn't hurt. I have a laptop. I can still use my monitor, which is 33-inch monitor. So I wanted that. And it would actually give me the HDMI even a better view with a newer computer than the one that I have. So I decided, okay, I'm going to look at some things. So I selected about 5 of them, sent them to my friend Scott, said, okay, what do you think? He says, well, 4 of those are junk. So skip those people. But then he, you know, came back to this laptop that they have, which is a Dell Inspiron. I don't even know how you pronounce that, but that's how it's spelled. Inspiron. So it was there, $999. I'm thinking, whew, well, okay. I've got that. But I go on the website and it says that you can set up something where you can do it in 4 installment payments. So I said, well, okay, that would work out. You know, over the course of 4 months, I'll still have other money to do stuff with. I'm good. So I go through it and I pick certain things that I want. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to sleep on this for a while. So then I did sleep on it. And the next day I'm looking at it again. I said, okay, let me just look at some other stuff, because the idea of buying a computer online for that kind of money, and then it's going to be shipped, and even though I live in a pretty secure, safe neighborhood, you know, you're still wondering, are there going to be these people who are going to drive by looking to see what houses have things on their on their porch, and they're going to try to run over real quick and take your stuff? Because there's been a lot of YouTube videos showing that kind of thing. I thought that was done. I remember that 10 years ago online. So I was a little worried about that, but I said, you know what? I will take the shot. But then I had other things to do, so I did that. And then I go through the motions late on late on a Wednesday night, and I'm tired. And I could have hit everything then, and I said, you know what? I'm going to wait until tomorrow to do that. But I thought I had set everything up properly. So I wake up, I get myself cleaned up, got to go to work. I come to the computer and I'm looking at this thing, and the spidey senses are saying, maybe you should check what you've selected. You can always go back and always come back to this, but maybe you need to just verify it again. And I'm sitting there staring at it, and in my mind I'm saying, don't be a punk. Buy the thing. You're gonna, be good. 4 installments, you're gonna be fine. So I hit the buy button, and all of a sudden I just got something that's spinning. The computer is just spinning. I should have known better. This is my thinking, because it happens with a bunch of the websites that I try to go to now. I couldn't do anything. I thought about maybe just shut down the computer, but then I said, nah, maybe it's going to take a while. I got to go to work. Maybe when I come back, everything would be fine. Go to work, get home, look at the computer. It's still spinning. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. So I go looking for a customer service number, and I had difficulty finding it. And so I contacted my friend Scott, said, how do I get these people? I didn't even really know who they were, and I'm kind of thrown out. He found a number. Really easy. I was ashamed of myself, but there it is. So I call Newegg, and I get this guy on the phone eventually, and he's very nice, very friendly. I will say that they're very nice, friendly people at Newegg. They don't have any real problems with them. Matter of fact, no problems with them. However, in my mind, I know I said to this guy that I'm worried about the payments, because I set it up for 4 payments that was there, so you don't get any interest, and I don't know if it's going to go through that way. What I'm not sure of is if he said, we've never had any problems with that, or I can see that you set that up for 4 payments. I really can't remember. In my mind, I'm thinking, but I know I did it. I knew that I mentioned it to him because I was talking to him about it, but I can't remember if he actually said that he sees that it's set up for the 4 payments. So Friday morning, just before I go to work, I get on the computer, and almost all in my bank account is gone. And I'm like, oh, God. And I'm thinking, if we have another snowstorm, that's going to be problematic, because buying gas is going to kill me. Because I get paid mileage, but I don't get paid until the following Wednesday. So that's extra money. I hadn't been totally filling it up, because I had to fill up my snowblower, because we'd had a whole bunch of snow earlier in the week. Yeah, I mean, I had 32 inches of snow over the course of 3 days. So, it's just Central New York. This is how that is. So I looked at this thing and said, well, it's too late. I can't cancel it, because they've already put it in the queue. They've already sent it to whoever's going to be sending it, here. I don't know if it's UPS or any of the other company. I don't know which one it's going to be. I don't necessarily know they're going to bring it to the house. Where I live, there's like 3 different places where they could, send it there, and then I can go pick it up. So at least it could be a little bit more secure. But I've been kicking myself ever since then, and I'm trying to tell myself today, get over it. It's done. Everything's okay. You at least still have some money in your checking account, and you're not going to have to worry about saving up for it again, or every month doing something. But the whole point of this video is, well, it's a twofold thing. One, if you're noticing these days that your computer is going wonky and things aren't working the way they should, it's because a lot of the websites have added AI stuff to it, which is going to throw you off if you don't have enough RAM or memory, whatever. Some of those sites, things are going to start looking way different than they used to. That's what happened to me on YouTube. Nothing looks the same anymore. That's miserable. But when it comes to transactions, when you're talking about buying something, always verify that what you're getting ready to pay for is going to follow what you said you wanted to do. And I didn't do that. And I've waited to forgive myself for that faux pas. But you know, just because you think you're smart doesn't necessarily mean you're smart. Anyway, it's supposed to show up sometime between Wednesday and Friday. We'll see how that goes. But at least I get paid again on Wednesday. My finances will be good again. Don't do a me when you get to a situation like that. And I'm not just talking computers. I'm talking about anything. If you can't verify it, or if you haven't verified it, verify it before you mess up, or before you find yourself in a position where, you know what, there's just nothing I can do about it. And, you know, I will say that being a little older, I actually have handled that better than I would have 5 years ago. Didn't help much, but that's life. Anyway, that's what I've got. Oh, and by the way, like I said, I'm buying a laptop. So I'm not going to have this big old thing here. It's going to have 7 ports in it. And I'm going to get a portable port so I can actually hook up all of my terabyte drives and do some other stuff. So I'm not upset with everything else that's going to happen, but that's just life. Anyway, my name is Mitch. Hope you watched. Let me know if you have anything you want to say. If you want to call me an idiot because I didn't follow up, that's fine, because I called myself that. And let's face the fact here. I'm going to be worried more about what I said about me than what anyone else says negative about me. So that's just how it goes. But it also has explained, by the way, how come my videos lag. Because when it burned up in 2024 and I got the other computer, which I have now, it didn't have enough RAM or anything else to keep up with it. So when I get the new computer, I'm going to put stuff in it, see how it runs, and maybe that will fight some of the issues I've had. Heck, maybe it'll make this look better. I don't know. I'm done. I hope you all have a wonderful next few weeks. Bye.